Hello, and welcome to another episode of Finding Mr. Height, the podcast. I'm your host, Allie Jackson, and I'm bringing you my positive and practical approach to dating, relationships, and a whole lot else about life through my lived experience, things I've learned along the way. Thank you for being here. I am so excited that this week is our 5-year podcast anniversary party, listener appreciation party in New York City at the Folly NYC, Saturday, February 28th. If you are in town, I would love to see you there. Doors for patrons are at 7 p.m. Public pod can enter at 8 p.m. And I'm going to have a sponsored bar tab for just my appreciation to say thank you to all of you for being here over the last 5 years. I'm so excited to celebrate. Entry is free, by the way. All you have to do to access the bar tab is RSVP. It's totally free. You can go to tinyurl.com/FMH5years, the number 5. That's also in the show notes in case you forget. And RSVP, and then you can access the bar tab. Come celebrate with me. I'm so excited to see you. It seems like the only thing I'm seeing on my feed lately is analysis about this season of Love is Blind. It is set in Columbus, Ohio, and it is, not going to lie, kind of a shit show thus far, which is why we love Love is Blind. I think I used to love it because it was like heartwarming, and now it's sort of like a train wreck that you can't look away from. And I think presents a lot of juice to look at in terms of things that come up in real life dating and relationships, just in this sort of like pressure cooker environment. And obviously these people are being cast because they're going to create these types of situations. And I've talked about Love is Blind on the Patreon in the past. And this year, or this season rather, I wanted to bring it onto the public pod. So I have a really fun conversation with Matchmaker Jackie Dorman all about Love is Blind, and not just like the show, but what the show tells us about relationships, dating, her thoughts as a matchmaker on like the dynamics that she's seeing play out between people and within individuals. I had such a good time talking to her. I think you're going to love it even if you don't watch the show. It's just like a really interesting look, and she brings up a lot of things that I hadn't even considered. And we just chat about kind of what we're seeing and what we're thinking, and we also make predictions. One of which has already come true. No spoilers. Speaking of spoilers, though, this episode goes all the way up through when the couples return from Mexico, or like one couple returns from California, but all the way up through episode 6. So like the first 6 episodes that Netflix released, a little bit of when they're back in Ohio, but not really. So just full disclosure, if you do not want to be spoiled on those episodes, you haven't watched them yet and you plan to, wait to listen to this because there are many, many spoilers of that. But not past that, because we recorded it before those episodes were released. So enjoy. I know I enjoyed it, so I hope you enjoy as well. This week has been very fun. Skyline and I went ring shopping. We started our ring shopping journey. It was so fun. I was honestly very nervous going in because the options are in theory infinite. And I was nervous about kind of narrowing things down, but we're starting to get there. And it's just such a fun process. I'm so excited for the next steps. I've been sharing more in detail about the process on the Patreon, as I said I would, and chatting. I actually got to chat live with the patrons, or as we speak, I haven't yet, but as you listen, we will have. We had our live Patreon, and I purposely scheduled it after our ring shopping appointment so I could chat in real time with the girlies all about my experience. I'm also documenting it as I go. I think I will eventually share it more publicly, but I want to keep it a little bit smaller while I'm in it, mostly because I don't want too much outside influence on what I'm thinking for something that is going to be like deeply personal and on my body for hopefully the rest of my life. So it's just a really fun time. It's a really fun time. And we also this past weekend went on a triple date. I mentioned a while back that I had been on a couple double dates through this app that I found called Double Social. It is currently only in New York. It's a double dating app for couples who want to meet other couples or just sort of expand their social circle in general. I found it like just searching around on the internet and subscribed and have met some awesome people. And last night I went out on a triple date with 2 of those couples. It was super, super fun. And it just like has been a really cool like addition to our social life. So we've really been enjoying it. And I actually happened to meet the founder who was on the app, like organically got matched with her on the app. And that's been really fun too. That's what's been going on with me lately. I'm very excited to go into the next steps, like I said, of our ring shopping appointments. We did our kind of exploratory things. We're narrowing it down to the jewelers that we want to like really dive in to potentially work with. I really want to work with an independent jeweler in New York and, really do something custom and uniquely us, and work with someone where I can like, it's an individual that we're working with in terms of a designer. And I'm just really pumped about that. So it's been super fun. And this entire episode really is a media mention because Love is Blind is in the media. However, I do have another specific media mention for you all this week. So last week I talked about, or I brought on the Patreon section where I talked about the whole wearing makeup or not thing. And I won't get all back into that. But firstly, thank you all for your support. Everybody who reached out, I really, really appreciate it. And it is clearly something that is affecting many of us. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it to the public pod. But that was just even more exemplified by the reaction and the conversations that I've had with a lot of you in my DMs. And somebody in my DMs brought my attention to a concept that I had never heard of that this fits really neatly into, called patriarchal bargaining. And I started sort of researching patriarchal bargaining when she mentioned it. I was like, I've never heard of that. I want to look into it. And it is a concept coined by Denise Candiotti, might have butchered her name, in the 80s. And it's about the strategies that women use to like increase their security or like operate within patriarchal systems, like systems that are dominated by men. And rather than attempting to totally upend the system, which in many cases feels impossible, women instead start to comply with that system in order to be able to operate and as well as they can, like to gain stability or resources or whatever it is. But like in doing that, and it's totally understandable, right? Like there's a part of you that's like, well, what other choice do I have but to operate within this system and to figure out how best I can operate within this system? And that's completely understandable. And we all do it to some extent, or most of us do it to some extent. But by doing that, we are unintentionally reinforcing that patriarchal system and feeding into it, right? And again, there's so many power dynamics at play. Like it's not, like I said in the episode last week, am I, Allie Jackson, one person, going to overthrow this patriarchy by not wearing makeup? I still wear makeup, but like by not wearing makeup as a cover of my face, like feeling like I have to, right? No, I'm not. But if I decide, well, it's useless, I might as well play into this whole thing, then I'm contributing even unintentionally to the whole thing. So it's difficult, right? Like there's so many different facets to it. And there's a video that I found by the Gender Equality Network. It's a very short 3-minute YouTube video. I'm not going to lie to you, it's a little dry. It's only 3 minutes though, but it really well explains this concept, at least it did to me, and got me thinking about a lot of things. And specifically, the part of it that really jumped out at me is that in this patriarchal bargaining, I'm going to quote from some of the text that the Gender Equality Network uses in this video. It says, "Women may engage in moral policing of other women to enforce societal norms and gain respect within their communities." So in other words, women are contributing to the patriarchal society by policing other women within that society. So if there's a societal norm, in this case, that women should wear makeup in order to look presentable, women are often the ones policing that and enforcing that morally, right? And that is literally exactly what I experienced last week. It was a woman who sent this message to me, and that woman is policing my lack of, I guess, participation in that societal norm that is a patriarchal norm, but it is being policed by women. It also gets policed by men, don't get me wrong. But we're feeding into it as women, right? And again, there are so many power dynamics at play here in terms of where it is sort of needed to operate within a patriarchal society. Like if I just said fuck it to every single patriarchal norm in society, I probably wouldn't get very far, right? And like, maybe that could be okay for some people, but there are so many power dynamics and inherent privilege and just all sorts of things that play into any individual's capacity or ability to do that. But I think being cognizant of the fact that it's happening, and in this case, having a name for it for me was just really, really eye-opening and helpful. So that is this week's media mention. If you're interested, there is a lot of literature on it. Like I said, the term was coined in the 80s, and there's a lot about it, but I found that little kind of like bite-sized 3-minute video to be the most helpful, like easily digestible piece of information on it. So I will link that in the show notes, and you could look it up. It's the Gender Equality Network is a YouTube channel, and the video is called What is the Patriarchal Bargain? The other thing that we are doing this week, before we get to Jackie and our chat about Love is Blind, is hearing from Katy and Tony for one last time, the final, for now at least, segment of the Dating Diaries. Really crazy timing that I reached out to Katy and Tony. We've been trying to get our schedules to align. I reached out to Katy and Tony about how I was thinking about sort of sunsetting the segment for now. This is before I said it on the pod. Just, I didn't want them to find out by hearing the pod. I reached out to them about, how I was kind of thinking about that and what did they think and how were they feeling about their journeys. And it just so happened that both of them had gotten sort of ended the situations that they were in, and you will hear more of details about that. And they both had decided to delete their dating apps literally the day before I sent them this email. So crazy timing, sort of serendipitous in the sense that neither of them are going to be dating much in the immediate future, though they're both trying to do some more in-person stuff. And so it feels like a really natural end for right now. And we're going to listen to them and hear from them first. And then we will go right into Jackie. And we are back with Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Welcome to Finding Mr. Hyde, the podcast.
Hi, Allie. It's so great to be here.
It's great to meet you. I am excited to talk Love is Blind today.
Let's dish. I'm excited.
This has been one of my favorite shows for quite a long time, but I think originally it was one of my favorite shows because I was into the love stories and whatnot. And more lately, it's more been about, oh no, what is happening on the screen that I'm watching?
What did I just see? What's happening? No, I agree with you. At first, it was like the concept of, oh, hey, let's fall in love with someone's personality, with their character, with, their emotional maturity or availability, and not like have the visage of them get in the way. Like originally that was the plan, right? But then production, Hollywood.
Yeah. Literally. Like when I'm not single anymore, but when I was, people used to ask me a lot, would you ever go on a reality dating show? And my answer was always, absolutely the fuck not, for that reason.
Absolutely. Because, I used to actually work in TV back in my former life.
Oh, really?
And it's all about ratings. It's all about, what can we do that's going to shock people? And it's hard to shock people nowadays, but, how is this going to become someone's guilty pleasure that they're going to binge because they just have to find out what happens next?
Yeah. 1,000%. So you are also watching Love is Blind from a little bit of a different lens because you are a matchmaker.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this could be a cautionary tale. I could send all of my clients and say, okay, go check out, the way Alex is acting right now. This is you, bro. Okay. Let's see how you like to see yourself on the big screen.
Totally. Is there any parallel at all to the beginning of a match process, let's say, where like you are matching somebody based on not looks in theory? Like that concept?
I mean, there are people that are willing to meet someone sight unseen. They're willing to trust the matchmaker, trust the process, and allow you to almost set them up blindly.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who they don't just want to see a picture, they want to see everything. And that is more the norm. People that want to know everything, want to see everything. And the problem with that is that so many people pass on someone who the science shows me that they would be really compatible. My experience with matching couples, tells me that they'll be really compatible, but they pass on something, on the resume. And so that's just really not a good idea, but so many people do it.
That reminds me a lot actually of Love is Blind. So like I mentioned in the intro, but there will be spoilers. Only through episode 6. So like through like Mexico mostly, just so that everybody
Right.
is super clear we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I've noticed in the pods, it seems like there are a lot of people connecting on resume items.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely think that this season more than others, people are really, trying to dig deeper into like, did you notice like from the very beginning, it's like, do you want children? Like almost right out the gate, like, do you fit
Immediately.
my list? Like that was more so than I think probably past seasons. And I thought that was interesting. And I was like, okay, well, maybe these people are a little bit more mature. Maybe these people have done a little bit more work and they know what they want. Nah, girl, that's not true. That's not what was going on. I don't know if the producers gave them a list of things to kind of jump off with, but no, that's not what was happening.
Was that your first impression of the season, that like
Yeah.
people were digging deeper quicker?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, you see several people talking about, how deep the connections were and how they were talking about, like, even saying, I told this person things that I haven't told anyone else ever, like digging super deep, into past trauma, into family
Mm.
history, into, dreams and wishes and hopes. Like they always do that on Love is Blind, but I think more so this year from the gate.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that that artificially compressed timeline really forces that to happen? Based on
Yeah.
my research, it seems like most of people are encouraged to propose on day 9.
Yeah. I mean, this is not speed dating. This is like speed attachment, right? You have 10 days. You have 10 days to fall in love with someone to the point where you could say, I love you and ask them to marry you. And so the
Wild.
race is on and it makes it almost, it ups the competition
Mm.
because nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to leave without a partner, right? Everyone wants to be chosen. And you see in this season, there were several love triangles that were formed. And then it pits, especially the women against each other. They have to start competing on how can I get this guy, to have enough dopamine hits from our, dates in the pod that he's going to choose me. Right. Because I don't know if you know this or not, but they show us like clips of their dates, but those dates are like 4 to 5 hours long.
I remember it was, I think, Tyler who walks out on a date with Kevin. Like she's one of the ones, it's Kevin, Tyler, and Kia who are in that one of the love triangles.
Yeah.
Tyler walks out on a date with Kia. She has time to go back to the women's quarter, have a little crash out there,
Yeah.
go do an interview, and then the
Yeah. Right.
producer is like, "Well, there's still plenty of time left of your date." Like, how
Yeah,
long is this
exactly.
date?
There's still hours left of your date. Yeah. So they only show us little snippets. And I think a lot of people are confused like, man, how did they make such a quick connection on the things that I've seen them say to each other? Because those dates were hours and hours and hours long.
Yeah.
That's why. And that in and of itself, it's almost like love waterboarding. Like you're like forced to be on this, marathon date with this person and it's like almost like jury duty on steroids. Like we're separated from the real world. We have no contact to the outside world. Like this is all we got.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like it seems easier to love bomb is like a word that I don't love to throw around because I don't think a lot of people are intentionally love bombing here. I think it's a an outcome of the situation that they're in. But
totally
I
a byproduct.
feel, yeah, a byproduct, thank you. I feel
Yeah.
like it's easier to like love waterboard, as you're saying, when you
Yeah.
don't have to look someone in the eye. Like that
Oh,
wall in between makes it so much easier to throw on the romance, if you will.
absolutely. And this is why Kavan did so bad.
Mm.
Like people, like they're going to throw him under the bus. I can't, I don't even know the kind of media that's going to come out. But the truth is that, he was miscast. I know when the producers are picking people to go on, like anxious attachment wins the day in Love is Blind. So people that want to do quick attaching, like they're in for the dopamine, they understand how to make that quick emotional connection. This poor dude, it wasn't that he was like low effort, he was confused. Like he wasn't going to ever get there to tell someone that
No.
he loves them in 10 days. Regardless of who it was never going to happen because he doesn't have that type of attachment style. It wasn't going to happen.
He was deeply confused. And Like, I'll get to him, another thing about him later, but on that
Yeah.
sort of attachment thing that you said,
Yeah.
as we think about parallels that we can bring from this, very produced show into our own dating lives,
Yeah.
how can you sort of piece apart that a real connection versus like that high of attachment and like what he's doing? And thank you, I mispronounced his name. It is Kavan, my bad.
Yeah.
But like how can you kind of piece that apart even in yourself? Because I don't think he can.
No, he can't. It was definitely the wrong format. I mean, this format rewards more anxious attachment style.
Yeah.
And even though people, probably, like I said, are going to misjudge him because of what they show in the editing, right? But I think he's probably more of a secure attacher, honestly. I think he probably leans more towards secure attachment, where he just wasn't feeling it. And so he wasn't going to force it. He was trying at the end to give people what they wanted because he's more of a people pleaser. You could see that towards
That's
the end.
that's the part
But
that I was like,
for
"Ooh,
sure.
buddy, no, we went wrong
Yeah.
there.
He was
That's where we went
trying.
wrong."
Because you have that pressure being put on you and
Yeah.
someone's very upset. You see Tyler, she's like you said, she's crashing out. She's super upset. She's like, make a choice. And so he was trying to do that. But then, 10 seconds later, he was like, I don't know. So, but I think that the difference between this, obviously, this, made for TV attachment pressure cooker in real life is that relationships that are healthy are going to be a lot more boring and they're going to unfold over time. You need time in order to make attachment if it's going to be a healthy attachment.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people relate to this show because a lot of people have insecure attachment. They misinterpret chaos for chemistry. So many people do. The people that I work with, I've helped over 1,600 people get engaged or married since 2020.
That's amazing.
And that doesn't explain all the people that got really close, but it was really more of a trauma bonding, as we say, or more of just two unhealthy attachment styles coming together and pushing and pulling. So much of that happens.
Yeah. I think it's so true what you said about like people relating to like
Mhm.
that attachment style. And I
Yeah.
think about one of the red flags for me in conversations is when most of the conversation is about how much they like each other.
Mm.
And I
Ah,
relate very deeply to that because I used to feed on that shit. Like that
yeah.
was like fuel to my
Mm.
fire, baby.
Yes, for sure. And a lot of people that, that's more of an anxious sort of situation, but
Oh
they want
yeah.
to be told how great they are and how amazing they are. They want to have the butterflies. And this format's great for that because you're 4 hours and you're talking, you're getting super deep. Like I had a boyfriend when I was a teenager, and I use the word boyfriend lightly because I had never met him in person. He was a friend of a friend that got my number and called me, and he had a great voice like on the phone,
Oh, we
and we
love
had
that.
these hours and hours phone conversations. I even remember calling him from the payphone at high school during my lunch break because, he was older than me and he was just already in the working field, but we planned on meeting up after 3 weeks of like these long, like we're planning our future and all these things, like we're so in love, and when I met him in person, ew. And it wasn't that he wasn't even attractive. It was like in-person chemistry hits differently. It just
Completely.
does. It wasn't that he was overtly like, he wasn't even medium ugly. He was okay looking, really, honestly. But just in person, like his mannerisms and his facial expressions and all the things, I was just like, I mean, I didn't even take 5 minutes to be ill. Like I immediately got the ick.
Your body was like,
And I never talked to him
absolutely
again.
not.
Absolutely. My body was like, no way in heck. This ain't gonna happen.
That happened to me in high school, actually, with somebody who was older also in a similar way. And I looked back on it later in life and was like, yeah, no wonder I got the ick from that adult who was talking to a high schooler. That like,
Yeah, that's part of it too.
ugh, like knowing his own age, like Jesus Christ. Like I was actually 18 at the time, but still, I
Yeah,
was a senior in high school. Like
yeah,
what was he doing? I think so. We saw a lot of that anxious attaching in the pods. And I think we also saw a lot of people trying to be really deep and vulnerable, specifically women, and getting absolutely nothing. Like I'm thinking about the conversation between Emma and Steven.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, Steven, as it turns out, absolute piece of shit on the like, producers, what are you
Oh,
doing?
wow, wow. I didn't
Yeah.
even hear about that.
Oh, we won't even get into that, but that's a whole rabbit hole. Thank God he didn't end up in a couple, or maybe he did, but they
Yeah,
didn't follow him. But
right.
I'm thinking about the conversation where Emma shares about being adopted and not knowing her birth family and like having like 10 surgeries before the age of 7, like all of these things.
All the things.
And Steven's vulnerable story is like, well, I'll tell you all about my first kiss. Like, I kissed this girl in middle school. Sir?
Way to dig deep, Steven.
So deep. Yeah. And like, he's like upset with her that she's not
Yeah,
like lauding his fucking first kiss story. And she's like, hi, did you not hear the part over here where I had all those
yeah.
surgeries and have all this trauma?
Right. That I just poured my heart out to you. Like I opened the box and I showed you all the stuff inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that, I mean, and she's a perfect example because, she really wanted to be with Connor, right?
Yeah.
And because he made her laugh, and then Mike was a little bit more too serious or whatever. But, and this is, I mean, we like the funny guys, but it's about depth and maturity. Right. It's about maturity. It's about depth. And, when you're really serious and deep, like she is, you kind of need a complementary opposite. And that's what
Mm.
we were seeing there. Like you're more attracted to a complementary opposite. And you can already see that she's super deep. She's super like deep thinking and, more cerebral, less in an
Yeah.
emotional center. And so it's, that's why we're attracted to people that not polar opposites. That doesn't usually work out too well, but complementary opposite, right? The funny guy that can bring her out of herself and loosen her up a bit.
Do you see that in real life working
Oh yeah.
more like that compliment? How do you find that balance though between a compliment and being like you said magnets, like polar opposite magnets that repel?
Yeah, well, at first, you need to give someone, because a lot of times when people are opposite in any way, whether it's complimentary or not, we'll think that they're not our person because we think we're looking for someone that's the same as us.
Yeah.
There's already one of you. You don't need two of you. And people that are
True.
exactly the same, even the same attachment styles, usually don't do that well together. And so it is the oppositeness of it that makes it interesting, that makes it
Mm.
fun. So get past the first couple dates where, those differences of opinion and those differences in the way that you think or do things, where that kind of might be a turnoff, and understand that that could get really interesting and fun. So let it unfold a little bit. And the way you're going to tell whether it's polar opposite or complementary opposite is if, they're the way they are, the way they think, the way they do things is like a compliment to the way you do things, like peanut butter and jelly,
Yeah.
instead of, peanut butter and relish. It's like, it's gross. It's not appetizing. Like you don't understand them. Your polar opposites when they're talking and you can't even see their point of view. Like you don't even understand.
Yeah.
You're like, what? No, that's wrong. Like, that's when like, hey, this is going to be oil and water and it's never going to mix.
Yeah. I used to think that I wanted somebody exactly like me. And like
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and call myself high strung. I'm high strung.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But
No.
I used to look for the like
Life of
really
the party.
loud, the life of the
Yeah.
party people.
The extrovert.
Yeah. And like my boyfriend can be that, but he is much steadier than me.
Right.
Like
You
what
need a steady. You
I,
need a steady Eddie when you have that personality.
I do. He calms me.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that I'll say to him in fake annoyance is like, you're just so goddamn reasonable.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
like,
like, hey, can you get amped up a little bit? Can you get unhinged? Can I see you get unhinged? Same with my
literally.
husband. My husband's a golden retriever. He doesn't get unhinged. He's always like, he's always just like, bringing the peace, bringing the comfort, bringing the stability. I'm like, stop it. Get.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Get unhinged with me for a second. But
Yeah.
he's not. He's
Can we
very
go a little
reasonable.
cray cray together or what? Yeah. But no, that's good because long term, the polar opposites are super exciting at first until you have
Yeah.
to dig into values and systems that you would build a marriage or long-term relationship on.
Mm.
They can be electric even at first, but that's not sustainable. is not a sustainable situation. And if you really want, if you are in the market, if you are a marriage-minded person that wants a long-term relationship, you want to build a legacy or a family together, you need somebody that's going to be a good teammate with you. That is what you're looking
Mm.
for long-term. Not someone you can just have hot sex with, right? Yeah, the sex should be good, but when you trust someone, the sex is good. That's what people need to understand. The sex that's, every day I trust you, you see all the parts of me and you accept me for who I am. That sex is way better than, blowing in and blowing out.
So true. I want one couple to root for.
Yeah.
And I guess I haven't seen further than the first batch of episodes that came out, but I guess we are still going to be following Vic and Christine back in Columbus. Like they just didn't get to go to Mexico, it
Yeah,
seems.
and they show a little bit of their relationship in the first 6 episodes,
Yeah, a
out of the
little.
pods, a little bit, but like I said, it's like watching paint dry the way that they're producing it. I'm sure it was more exciting than
I
that, but they
know.
just kinda cut. And you know what that sends to the public? It sends healthy relationship is boring.
So
It
true.
gives boring.
Like I want like Brett, was it Brett and Tiffany from a few seasons ago? Or like Brett from the Seattle Portland, it was the black
Oh, yeah, yeah,
couple.
yeah.
I think Brett,
Yeah, yeah,
I know Brett
yeah,
is his name. I think it was Tiffany.
yeah,
Or like really long throwback Lauren and Cameron,
yeah,
my favorites. Those
yeah,
relationships were technically boring, and
yeah,
yet we loved them because we
because
want
they
to
were sweet.
root. Yeah, they were so
Yeah,
sweet. And I
yeah,
never thought about it like you're saying. That the
yeah.
producers are telling us that that's not the relationship you want. That's not very fun.
No, that's not fun. You want this. This is electric. This is exciting. And that's the difference between like a trauma bonding, knowing that you're maybe bonding on some unhealthy things, or there's a healthy bonding happening is that, one feels good and the other one feels electric.
Yeah.
Now, I always tell my clients, if you're sitting across from them on, the first couple dates and you want to crawl over the table and eat their face off, we got to take a deeper look at what's happening. We gotta take a deeper look because a lot of people they'll categorize that as good,
It's a
but
spark.
usually it's not. Usually that level of electricity or chemistry is your nervous system doing something that you don't want it to do, you know?
Yeah, which I think is
Yeah.
happening in pretty much every other couple that we are seeing in Mexico.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have just a couple predictions based on episode 1 through 6 of who I think will actually make it to the altar and maybe get married. And let's be fair, meeting someone and getting married to them in 28 days is really
That's
crazy.
not
It's
normal.
really crazy. Getting people that go on the show have to already be crazy because that's crazy.
Yeah, because you're signing up
Being
for
willing
that premise.
Yeah, being willing to, if you're successful at this experiment, have a possible divorce in a couple months. I mean, already on your record, there's your little black mark because you got married to someone that you knew for less than a month. Probably not the best idea.
The only one crazier I would say is Married at First Sight.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is that I think that people need to understand that the couples that this works for, like I predict that Vic and Christine will get married and
I
stay
think so.
married. I really do. They serendipitously met each other through this crazy process. And divinely anything can happen, right? And so this happened
Sure.
for them. And there's people on Love at First Sight that it happened to before, but they are the exception. They are the anomaly. They are not the rule.
Yep.
And people need to understand that.
1000%.
Yeah.
One of the other big themes that kept coming up for me, especially in the pods, was this emotional labor problem where I felt like from moment one, the women of this season are doing all of the heavy lifting emotionally.
Totally over functioning.
Yes, like they're leading all of
Yeah,
the vulnerable conversations, they're managing the men's feelings, and like
yeah,
in some cases, like we were saying with Kavan and Tyler and Kia, they're literally breaking up with themselves.
they are, and I think that part of that and those love triangles were that they were trying their best. Like, let's face it, when you don't have physical connection, I mean, you can go the Alex Ashley route and you can just talk about sex the whole time and try to make a connection there, but Ashley wasn't competing against anyone. And these other
Fair.
girls in their love triangles, what they were trying to do is they were trying to leverage, what women carry, and that's more of that intuition and that emotional center to try to make the man feel attached enough
Mm.
to choose them, right? Especially with Kia and Tyler. Like, Kia when she wised up, because remember, everyone that goes on blind, Love is Blind, knows what Love is Blind looks like. They've seen it in playback. They
Right.
know what the edits look like. They know that you have like 3 or 4 arcs. You're either going to be in a love story, and that's great. You're going to be a villain, you're going to be a victim, or you're going to have the self-respect arc. And she chose that one,
Yep.
so that when this comes out and hits, which it is now, that she isn't going to look like someone who was doing anything possible to try to win this man who could not be won.
Which, more power to her. Like, I was like, hell yeah, you go. But like, it just,
You go, girl.
because we have seen the edits, at
Yeah.
least, of women who went the opposite direction. And it is all
Yeah.
edited. So like, it's a little tough to be like, well, who's to
Totally.
say what they showed us versus what happened?
Totally.
Either way, like both genders, everybody, if you're applying to these
Yeah.
shows, it's like
Yeah.
you're probably not applying because you think you're going to meet the love of your life.
Nah. Not usually. Not anymore. I think
Exactly.
when these shows first came out, I mean, The Bachelor's like what, 25, 30 years old?
Yeah, which is
I mean,
crazy.
it is crazy. But I'm going to tell you, I remember watching the first season of The Bachelor, and it wasn't like it is now. It
Well,
was really more like, hey, we're here because we want to get married.
and it was random people. Like The Bachelors, originally, the first time that they ever did a repeat person was the first Bachelorette, Trista, because
Yeah.
she had been dumped on the prior season of The Bachelor. But before that, the
Yeah.
Bachelors were all like random guys.
Yeah, and she's married. She's
Yeah,
one of the
she's
people
still
that I
married to
worked
Ryan.
for. There's so much, like, as a matchmaker, I will tell you that public opinion on being married is low. Okay? A lot of people don't wanna get married, or if they do get married, it's gonna be like, "Ugh, I gotta be, really, really, really sure." They're so afraid of choosing the wrong people. No one wants to be divorced. Marriage is definitely at an all-time public opinion low. But what's so interesting about these shows, they're full of debauch, right? They're crazy unhinged, but the goal is marriage? Like, that is what's so weird to me. It's like, these
Hmm,
people wanna get married when if I say anything about marriage on my TikTok, people go crazy. They're like,
really?
"Nobody wants to be married." Like, "Where did you crawl out from under what rock, chick?" And so it's like, so it's just weird that that's the prize. Like, we're getting married to a stranger.
When you say it
Just
that way, it
funny.
does sound super unhinged. And it makes sense then, if given that it's like this game show atmosphere, that there would be
Yeah.
even more over functioning.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely over functioning. And if you saw how the producers, and they don't show this on camera, but they're instigating.
Yeah.
They're definitely queuing people up and telling them what to do, and telling them what they should be doing here. Like, even the conversations in Cabo, a lot of the clips they're showing you, they fed them that kind of, hey, why don't you guys come over here and talk about this?
Yeah, I
Right?
remember from last season, there were a few different scenes where cast members later said, like, no, they made us film that.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
especially some
Yeah.
of the scenes that happened last season. It wasn't, this didn't happen this season, but last season there were a lot of scenes where people like drank way too much at one of the like Mexico parties. And then
Oh yeah.
they attempted to have a serious conversation. And
Yeah.
I remember thinking, what the fuck are they doing? Why are they talking about this? And then in
Yeah.
hindsight, it turns out it was because the producers showed up and were like, hey, we're going to film you talking about this now.
Oh no, absolutely. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I live in Austin, Texas, but I'm from Columbus, Ohio. It's my
Oh, no
hometown.
way.
Yeah, it's my hometown. So my daughter that still lives there, my middle daughter, her and her husband live there. She actually ran into one of the guys last week
Oh, wow.
from Love is Blind, and he was talking about how much alcohol you consume in the pods, and
Yeah.
how you don't even realize how much you're drinking because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, like, they wait. That's why it's 4 hours long, the date, because 'cause they're waiting until you get to a place where the alcohol becomes truth serum and you start saying crazy stuff.
It makes sense. And also, I think makes sense with the trajectory of the dates where somebody like Kavan can go into a date sure
Yeah,
about what he's going to do. Like he went into
yeah,
multiple dates thinking he was going to break up with somebody or choose someone and was in a
yeah,
completely different place by the end of the date.
absolutely, because he's the kind of personality that is, doesn't wanna hurt anyone's feelings. and also wasn't the kind of person that was going to tell someone they love them. Remember, Tyler finally kind of won the day where she got him to admit that he liked her better and that she was going to be his girlfriend.
Yep.
Oh, I'm your girlfriend? Well, honey, it's day 9. He's either going to propose or we're done.
Yeah.
You
have
know?
to.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like
And he's not going to.
he immediately went back on it.
Yeah.
Season 9, for the first time, ended with 0 marriages.
I think that as the show goes on and with the kind of casting that they're doing and what they want, what they're trying to get out of people, I think that's going to get worse.
Probably.
Yeah, I think we might have at least one marriage this time. Vic and Christine, I'm like 99.9% sure that they're going to get married.
Well, the funny thing is they added an extra engaged couple to follow, but then kind of pushed them off to the side, maybe because they know they're going to get married and they're like, they'll help our numbers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. You could be right. That could be it. That could be the science behind what they're doing. Because they want it to be successful because it's not an experiment anymore.
No.
It's been around for 10 seasons.
They still call it that though.
Anymore, but they are trying because there's so many other shows in the landscape of dating shows that they almost have to make it more salacious in order for people to watch, right?
Yeah.
And so unfortunately that's it, because it was a really cool and cute idea. You know that there's like Love is Blind in every country now, though, right?
So many countries.
Yeah. So I wonder if those are more wholesome and like how this show started out. I haven't watched any of them, but I wonder if those are like kind of more true to the roots instead of like America always being like reality TV, Jerry Springer, let's do something crazy over here. And so, I think that we can take a look at what's going on shows like Love is Blind and understand like this is the worst of some of these things that are happening out here. But we can learn a lot from, how these people are trying to, discern whether or not this is my person. Am I attracted? Is there enough chemistry? Because, as soon as they see each other, then whatever they thought they had in the pod is now going to be about, am I physically attracted to you?
Yeah. Do you actually think it's worse to see someone later than to get to know it all at the same time?
I mean, it depends. If you're the kind of person who's always in your own way with a physical type, it might be better for you to try to get to know someone on the inside instead of just the outside. But I think most people, they need to be able to see the whole package in order to really form, any kind of sexual interest.
Yeah. That's the reason I was thinking about it, is because I was thinking about your story about that guy when you were in high school and like my similar stories. And I remember in my case, I had built up in my mind what I thought he was going to look like and smell like and laugh like and all of these things.
You had a fantasy.
Yeah, even though I had seen a picture. Like I knew what he looked like.
Right.
And yet I still had this idea of what his aura was going to feel like, I guess.
Absolutely. And this is what happens when they get out of the pods. They're all like, they built up this fantasy about who's behind this voice, who's behind this personality and these jokes, like who is this person? And then when they see them, and not even just when they see them, but now they have to actually interact with them and like sleep in a hotel room with them. And they get to see like who this person really is versus who they had been dreaming for, 10 days, who they were.
Totally.
And And some people, it's like, oh, you're even better than I thought. And for some people, it's just like, you're nothing like what I thought.
Yeah.
Nothing,
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if you saw in Cabo, I think it was Mike. He's like, Emma's hella messy.
I am worried about those two for like literally that reason.
Yeah.
There are
a little OCD and she's like ADHD.
I think, and in the conversations that I've seen them have about it, and I accidentally watched a couple minutes into them coming back to Ohio, and it seems to be continuing there.
Yeah.
It seems like he's seeing that as her, like this major flaw of hers, but he's not reflecting on anything that he might have as a flaw that she's adjusting to.
Right.
Like he's very regimented in what he thinks is like good and bad.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And, people that lean more towards avoidant, even if it's dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant, they're going to try to find the holes in the love story. They're going to try to find something wrong with you. And it's not going to be hard because everybody has flaws.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're going to look for it and they're going to maximize it. They're not going to minimize it. They're going to maximize it. Anxious attachers minimize everything. It's like, oh, he'll change, she'll change, and it's going to be okay. Love conquers all. As long as,
Yep.
you continue to give me certainty and you continue to give me physical touch. This is Devo and Brittany. She's like, I just think you're mad because you're not touching me. When you walk by me, I need you to touch me. I need you to, tell me how pretty I am. Like, this is classic. Like, I need you to, be my self-esteem. I need you to make me feel certain. Right. And as long as you're doing that, I'll just be here. Even if you're not what I thought you were going to be. Like, if you do that, that fills my little love tank and then I'm good. But these others are exactly the opposite. It's like, no matter what you do, I'm going to find something wrong with you. Okay. I'm going to find something wrong with you. You're not Prince Charming, you're Prince Alarming. And I'm going to find something wrong with you. And you see that with Bree and Connor. Like, she's trying to find something wrong with him. I mean, not that you have to look too far.
I think she could very easily find the things, but she's kind of like interrogating him at every turn for the things that are wrong.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, even though she seems kind of like the sorority girl, she's like, I miss the depth of the pods.
That was funny to me when she was like, none of our conversations are deep. I'm like, girl, you're in Cabo in the pool and everyone has margaritas. Like, we don't need to talk about our trauma.
Seriously. And she's just like, I need closure with Chris. Oh, honey. Out of all the people on this show, Chris is my least favorite already. It's like, honey, you dodged a bullet. You should be so happy.
I didn't even bring up the shit that I hated about Chris in the pods when it was actually a conversation with Bree, not with Jess, who he ended up and getting engaged to, but with Bree, where he was talking about wanting to challenge his partner, but the way he was phrasing it was basically like, I am excited to push you to do things you don't want to do.
Absolutely. And she's so easygoing. She would be, the an example of a secure person, in my opinion. Jess would be. And even though he was having that conversation with Bree, but Jess, like, gosh, I thought as a matchmaker, I was like, man, I would really love to match her because she is, in my opinion, the most mature, healthiest person on this show.
I love her. I mean,
yeah, I love her too.
Girl's
I love
a whole
her.
ass doctor.
And I'm so like sad that that's who she ended up with. I'm like, yeah. Although, to be fair, everyone else would have been taller than him, way taller.
But yeah, she's tiny.
Way taller. Yeah. Ladies, if you're listening, give a short king a chance. My husband's 2 inches shorter than me. I'm 5'10". He's 5'8", but just make sure he's a king because otherwise he's just short. In Chris's situation, he is not a short king. He is just short.
Yeah, I do not like him. So I'm guessing, getting to our predictions as we wrap up, I'm guessing Chris and Jess, you're a no on.
Oh, hell no. Run for the hills, Jess. Run for the hills.
My thing is, I hope they don't. I'm worried they will.
Oh, you know what? I don't think they will. You know why? Because he is so shallow. I think that his whole act in the pods is an act. I think that he actually might be one of the most unhealthy people on the show. That's just hiding a lot of stuff. And so hopefully she can see through that, or someone that loves her can see through that. This is why we need a dating community, because if you have a picker that's broken, someone around you is going to see the red flags waving, and hopefully you have people you trust that you'll listen to.
Yeah, also based on the previews, it seems like there are some inappropriate conversations happening between him and Bree.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hope she's not that dumb, but because, with editing, they can make it look like anything's going on.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but it does appear that once again, she's looking for the depth. And unfortunately, the people that you're going to want depth from are the people who they know exactly what to say because it's an act, right?
Yeah. And like, the people that have that genuine depth are likely not on the show.
They're not on the show, because even if they applied, they weren't going to be cast because they're not interesting enough. That's why I don't know how Kavan and even Nick and Christine made it through the picking process, because they're not the usual suspects for this show, for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Okay,
Uh,
so predictions.
yeah.
I
Okay.
think
So
Vic and Christine will get married.
Vic and Christine,
I
yes,
think
I'm a yes on them.
possibly Jordan and Amber, possibly, because
I
I do
really
think they
hope.
have something cute and sweet.
I like Jordan and Amber a lot. They're trying
Yeah,
to make us worried with previews about him being nervous about her kid. I feel like that's a red herring that they're just trying to make us nervous.
yeah, yeah. Well, did you hear him say that the one non-negotiable he told the producers he
Yes.
had was something with the kid?
Yes.
And this is okay. This is a teaching moment for all the singles out there. Have non-negotiables, but make sure that they really are and they're not preferences. It was a preference
Mm,
because if it was truly a non-negotiable, he would have not talked to her in the pods as soon as he found out she had a kid.
yeah.
It's not a non-negotiable. It's not a deal breaker. It's a preference, and non-negotiables trump preferences.
And
So,
maybe one step further, like be willing to consider that your non negotiables might be preferences.
yes. Well, that's why, I make people really hone down on that list to make sure that they really, truly are deal breakers and not just something that is more of a preference or a wish or a hope or something that's trying to keep them from getting traumatized again. Like, no guy's named Brad. That's not a deal breaker. Okay.
No, you're not going
All
to
right.
actually control for that. Sorry.
No, no, because the love of your life, you're going to meet him and his name's going to be Bradley. And then what? Then what are we going to do?
Now, what are you going to
And then,
do? Yeah.
yeah, for
I
sure.
I would have to assume that producers are asking Jordan every day if he thinks about the fact that his deal breaker was no kids.
Oh, totally. They're
Every day.
like, "Hey, are you okay with this? Do you know what this is gonna be like?" Like, they're trying to throw, gas on the fire for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
okay, we're a yes on them. Not as
Mhm.
strong of a yes as Christine and Vic, but a yes on them. What do you
Yes.
think about, let's go Emma and Mike?
No.
Yeah, me either. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. No. I think he's trying to hold it together. He's comes from an Italian background. They come from really different places. I think they might be polar opposite.
Mm.
And remember, she wasn't really that attracted to him. And I think now, I mean, how do you go from, I'm so sad that Connor broke up with me, he was my first choice, to, okay, I'll marry you?
I am
What?
curious if Mike ever finds that out. Because in the
Oh, yeah.
past,
No, she told him. She told
did
him in the
she?
pod.
Oh, did I miss that?
And I thought that was really cool of her. She's like, yeah, you weren't, my first broke up with me today.
I thought she said my second broke up with me today.
She said that later with the girls, but she said
Oh,
that she
okay.
she came clean with him.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah. So, yeah, so he knows, and yeah, and of course they make everyone talk in Cabo. It's just like, here's what the person looks like, the one that got away.
Yeah,
But no,
exactly.
I don't think Mike and Emma, for sure not.
No.
Um, I'm not sure about Connor and Bree, only because I don't think they'll get married. I don't think they'll get married, but I think that they do have some complementary opposite stuff, and if they could get over all of their unhealthy, just the work that they haven't done themselves in
Yeah.
themselves, they none of these people are ready to get married except for maybe Vic and Christine, like just in general,
Sure.
okay? But if they could get over, I could see them staying attracted to each other. So I don't know. I don't think they'll get married though. Who else do we got?
Alex and Ashley.
No,
Yeah, I'm a hard
no.
no on them.
They're not even going to make it. I mean, I'd be amazed if they even make it together in the next couple episodes. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
they'll even make it to making a decision about it on the altar. I don't think they'll make it there.
I don't either. I also don't think I think they're not going to make it
Chris,
to the altar, and Devontae and Brittany aren't going to make it to the altar.
no, I
It,
don't think so. Because he can't give her what she needs. Just how he regulates himself is just like his self-preservation technique is withdrawal, and she
yeah,
can't handle it. He's just like, I just need some, I'm not mad at you. He's like, I just need some alone time. I need some downtime. So he's over here trying to regulate himself with alone time and downtime. And she like cannot
she's
handle it. She's
spiraling.
taking it as rejection. And so those coping mechanisms are like warring against each other, right?
Yeah,
Because her coping mechanism is love me, tell me I'm pretty. And his is, I need some space.
yeah, not
And
going to work.
Chris and Jess, like I predict they definitely will not make it even to the altar at all. In fact, I predict that that's going to be, I forget what that one couple's name is, but I predict that that's going to be a very volatile, ongoing volatility. Like not on her side, but just like, I think he's going to be the villain of this season.
Well,
Chris is the villain.
He sucks.
He's
So
100% the villain. Well, I mean, Steven was the villain, but they got rid of him. So I think that Chris is the new villain.
yeah. Well, Steven had some like very serious allegations going against him.
I didn't even read that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about Steven, which I have to assume they knew because they do a lot of background on these people.
Yeah.
But
let's do some screening. Let's keep it safe.
Yeah,
you
seriously. The thing I was going to say about Alex and Ashley that I was like shocked about was that I also think they're not going to make it to the altar, but I was shocked at how overtly sexual and seemingly attracted to each other they were, except towards the end of Mexico. Now, all of a sudden, Alex is like, she's not my type. I don't know if I'm into her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like,
I'm not into her.
What happened?
I was in her, but I'm not into her. I mean, like, what?
Literally.
And he's saying that to a girl who is Ashley's polar opposite. You know, Brittany is short. She's very voluptuous. She's darker skinned. You know, she's dark hair, dark eyed. He's saying that to her like, you're my type.
Ugh,
like, didn't you get that feeling?
So gross. Yes. And it's so gross.
Yeah. Like, you're what I go. And he's like, what do you go for? And then she literally says, tall and athletic. Like, she describes him. And I'm like, okay. So like, maybe something will happen with that, like going forward. Maybe. You know, maybe they'll try to switch it out.
Maybe it'll be a Mason and Meg situation. You know that Mason and Meg from last season are together now?
Oh, that happens. It happens on a lot of these shows. It's like, oh, hey, I like that person. I'm so much better. And this goes to show you that it really doesn't matter what initial chemistry says. When you get to know somebody, that's when you start gravitating towards the people that you're really compatible with. Right? Chemistry is not the big C of relationship. Compatibility is, consistency is. These are more important C words than chemistry. Right. Yeah. And so that wins out with anyone who's even a little bit healthy.
Totally. But it's impossible to see consistency in 10 days.
Yeah. Consistently toxic.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he's consistently that way.
Consistently inconsistent, Kavan.
My God. Truly the king of inconsistency.
Totally the wrong personality type for the show. They just miscast him.
Yeah.
I bet he's a really great guy in real life. I bet he is.
Maybe they didn't miscast it. Maybe they purposely cast somebody who was going to end up in a pickle.
Yeah. And what's her name? Tyler, from the very beginning, she's like, you know, like, where's my husband? Like, she was like, I'm leaving here with somebody. And I appreciate her effort in trying to make that happen.
I do too. And then eventually being like, all right, this is not going to happen. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
I'm out.
Yes.
The first time she's out, like, she's like, well, maybe I'm not out. Because once again, this is what we do. We try to give the ultimatum. She did that. You know, choose or I'm done. But not really. I'm here. Yeah. You know, so once again, that's the normal trajectory of people that are really anxious. Like, they're like, you messed up. You know, you messed up, Aaron, but not really, because here I am again.
God, so true. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for being here and chatting through. I love the Love is Blind chat, and we will be keeping track of our predictions, see if we're right.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, if you do commentary on the new Wuthering Heights, I'm in, because, ooh, baby, crazy town.
Yes, I haven't seen it yet, but I am excited.
Okay.
So where can our listeners find you?
They can find me on my Insta, Jackie Dorman Official, and they can find me at jackiedorman.com. Pretty easy. I have a new book coming out called Modern Dating Sucks, Matchmaker's Guide to Love in a Swipe Left World, and I'm excited about that. It comes out next month.
Amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, listeners, we will talk to you next week.